this show on the road. Welcome to Hardcore Enduro, where it's all about getting out and riding the hard stuff. I'm George, the guy behind the bars and the voice behind the mic. And we're up in Monache Meadows, y'all. I've been wanting to ride up here for many years, and I just never got around to it. It's a lot of single track, a lot of fun, just beautiful scenery, single track. Nothing too hard, nothing that's gonna break your bike. There are a couple of little rocky sections, but most trails just have a nice flow to them. They got some whoops up here to keep the trails honest. Got to keep those whoops in to keep you honest. Can't just be sitting on your butt the whole damn time. You got to stand up every once in a while. Some people don't like the whoops. Yeah, it's a close one. There's be a couple trees that hang out kind of close to the trail, so you got to watch your handlebars there. But beautiful ride. Temperature is amazing. Look at the sky. It's a beautiful sky up there. We camped at Troy Meadows. So this area, everyone calls this Monache Meadows, which actually Monache Meadows is down the mountain a little bit. So we're staying at Troy Meadows. There's Fish Creek Camp, and then you got Troy Meadows, and I think there's a couple.
Faster pace today because I don't have a lot of time.
Yeah, going a little bit. Not going to stop very much today, which honestly, the trails are very flowy. Don't need to really stop that often. You're not working too hard. The whoops will get you, but most of the trail just
getting a little bit more comfortable on the new bike.
Yeah, this ride kind of made the bond. I bonded with my bike finally. Coming from that 450 Trixie 1.0, the bikes were just such a different feel to them. You know, it was like riding a completely different platform. I mean, it is. It just my whole riding vibe, right? The feel on the bike was just so different on the 300 here, and this ride finally, I think, made the bond where I felt very comfortable on her, and really just had a good time. But anyways, back to where we're camping. We camped at Troy Meadows. I have a bigger rig. It's like in between a small and it's the super huge ones at 45. So my rig's 37 feet long, and I camped in Troy Meadows. A lot of the sites are for 30 and under rigs. They did a couple of sites for the bigger rigs. I stayed in site 1, but I had to drive around the campgrounds. And you got to be conscious of where your rig's at the whole time, you know, because it's snaking around through the campsite with a big rig can be a little tricky. And we're looking to upgrade to a bigger rig next year. And I'm like, man, I don't know if I'd fit in here next time. But anyways, site 1 worked out perfect for me and my family. My little kids could run around out in the flat campground area without worrying about them riding in a road. It's just wonderful. I like Troy Meadows. The guy told me that the camp post is right next to us, Donnie. He told me that Fish Creek has tighter spots, so I'm glad we didn't turn into Fish Creek. I'm glad we came to Troy Meadows. Now there's other open areas you can camp outside the campgrounds, which I did a little exploring, and like Purple Foxes had a spot across from Fish Creek. It was just open area, and I think I could fit a big rig in there. And there are some other dirt roads that you can camp off of with some open areas. They're all free camping, I'm assuming. It's a national park. National park rules are if you can park and camp there, you can do it. If there's not a sign that says no camping, but usually national parks, you can just camp anywhere that's open, anywhere you can fit a rig or fit a truck or wherever you want. You just pull over and park and camp for the night. Oh, nice little rock section right here. I like that. So the goal for today, I rode my side-by-side with the family yesterday, and we went up to Monache Meadows, and I wanted to go up there. The whole point of this whole trip was to go up to Monache Meadows, and there's an old airstrip up there that my dad used to fly into back in the late 60s, early 70s when he was dating my mom, and fly her up here and go camping and go fishing in the little creek that's up there. So I've never been there. I've grown up hearing stories about that, and yesterday we drove up there. We found the airstrip, and there's actually 3 strips. They have one that's still open up there. The other 2 aren't open, but I told my dad, I said, hey, I told him we're coming to Monache Meadows, and I don't think it clicked. And my dad still flies. He's 85 years old, still flies almost every single day. He's been flying since he's been 21 years old when he joined the Air Force. But told my dad, hey, we just went to, we found the old airstrip in Monache Meadows. Well, the next day, he flew up there and landed. I'm like, you haven't been up here like my whole life. As a little kid, he never brought me up here, not one single time. And finally, after how many decades, 50 decades or whatever, he had flown back up there. So I just thought that was fantastic. And actually met another guy that was flying his plane. So they had two planes out in the grass strip. So I thought that I was kind of bummed I missed the plane up there. Like if I knew he was going to fly up, I would have coordinated my my little trail ride in here to meet up with them. But anyways, so that's the goal. We're going up Jackass Creek to Monache Meadows, and then we're going to kind of go counterclockwise. We're going to go circle around to the other side through Albanita. There's a bunch of trails that connect you over that I'm using the Monache off-road app to find the trails and connect over back to Troy Meadows. I know it's a whole lot. There's a whole bunch of trails up here. Oh, and yesterday we're going up with the side-by-side, and we come across two bikers, and you know I got my Monache off-road app going. Like I don't ride without it. I always have it on. You got to there's no service up here, so to pre-download all the maps.
Out of shape.
Yeah, you're out of shape there, buddy. But this is good.
That is like just you gotta get in shape with those roots.
Yeah, and even though it's easy, there's nothing too difficult. Just the whoops and stuff. You got to get some conditioning for that. But I got to do some body squats. That's what really helps. Just at home body squats. If you can get on a bike or something like that, that would really be good. I just don't do that. I got to do the body squats. But anyways, so we're sitting there in the side-by-side. The bikers roll up and they ask me where I'm at. And they're trying to get back to Troy Meadows. And I'm like, you guys don't have OnX? Use OnX. And they're like, oh, we have an actual physical like paper map. And I'm like shaking my head. I'm like, this is 2025. You need to get an app that has a map on it. Like, what do you guys ride around with paper maps for? It's a waste of time. So you'll see that as I'm going along. I got my super awesome Trixie mount there with my iPhone right in front of me. And I'll point, you can see my iPhone right there at the bottom of the screen. You'll see that when I'm coming up to like a trail split or whatever, across roads, I can just glance down real quick and I can see where the trail goes. If I need to go left, right. It's just so handy. Anyways, when I saw those guys yesterday ask me where they were, I was like, these guys could get lost out here. Yeah, I mean the trails kind of all connect, but you know, I don't like that feeling of not knowing where I'm at. I always like to know where I'm at and where I'm going. Bunch of cut up logs on this trip. I'm telling you, for the guys that don't like whoops, the one way you get rid of whoops on a trail, you leave the logs in. You leave a couple big logs in, and it's gonna cut down traffic. Oh, well, look at the beautiful trees up here. Fall is in the air.
Oh, changing leaves.
Yeah, bunch of these trees just made this ride so pretty. But you leave a couple of these big logs in the ground, that's gonna cut down the traffic, and that's gonna eliminate your whoop problem. So there you go. You wanna get rid of whoops or limit the whoops? Just leave the logs in. Problem solved right there. Boom. Ah, so pretty, so flowy. I love these little bridges. Like, who takes the time to put a little bridge right there? How do you get all the wood?
It's cool.
I mean, I love it that someone took the time to do that. Not necessary, because yeah, we'd still be able to get through that creek anyways. Trixie just flowing through here. That's one thing I feel much more comfortable on is the little twisty turns with the two-stroke. I don't have all that engine braking, speed me up, slow me down. It just feels like a mountain bike. If you're just like cruising, coasting smooth, that's how this 300 feels. It just feels smooth. I'm off the gas, on the gas, just a real smooth delivery of power. I got my left fingers on the clutch. Almost, I can't ride without my left finger being on the clutch. It's like always on the clutch. My right finger, I usually have it on my front brake, but if it gets really whoopy, then I'll take it off the brake, or really chunky, like right here, where you really gotta hold on to those bars. So we got kicked out by a rock right there. Slipped into neutral. I've noticed that a couple times here. The Husky has gone into neutral a couple times. From second, when I'm kicking down to first gear, it just finds the neutral gear. I remember the WR450 did that a couple times, but I've already noticed it several times here on the 300. So I think it's going to be a little bit of just a thing I'm going to have to like get used to or be better about my shifting on those slow technical stuff. Be more forceful into first, or you have to clutch it more when I go down to first to prevent it from going into the neutral. All right, I like that little rev up. It sounds so different than the 450. You get so used to how your bike sounds. And yeah, that 450 was like a purring line the whole time. Whereas the two-stroke here, it sounds like you're gargling marbles all like, you know, so it has that gargling, that sound to it. Then it gets smooth out when you're on the slow rev, slow RPM.
You make a no dab sticker.
Yeah, I was thinking about, see, I'm always thinking, I'm writing and thinking about what I could be making, new slogans. A no dab sticker, so I'm gonna make a no dab sticker. Gotta make a Slippy t-shirt, and then I'm gonna make a no dabs sticker. I was thinking about that during this ride. And what I wanna do is find a nice technical climb on a trail. Not today, but when I'm riding, I'm gonna find a trail. When I get these stickers made, we'll have a nice technical climb, and if you can get through it without a dab, I'm gonna have the cash can at the top, and you get it. If you didn't do any dabs, you get that no dab sticker. We're gonna have to use the honor system, you know, like the fruit stands on the side of the road where you just grab some fruit and pay with the honor system. That's how the no dab sticker is gonna be. I mean, everyone gonna be grabbing the sticker. No, just you gotta be honest. If you didn't do a dab, you get a sticker. If you dabbed, no sticker. That's how it works. I did the no dab challenge. Yeah. Oh, I can't wait for that video. I'm gonna find it. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be the no dab challenge. You know how you got the speed. I did the Rincon speed challenge. We're gonna find the no dab challenge somewhere. It's gonna be fun. The trail's just got all this side hill. It's real narrow side hills some spots. It just keeps you on your toes, keeps you in your balance. It's not hard. It's just you got to stay on the line. It's not the most narrow trail I've ever been on. I've been on some like is the width of your tire wide. Rincon, upper Rincon has a couple sections at side hill where the trail is literally the width of your tire, and that is it. And it's like very slanted, very off camber. Hear that Trixie getting guttural down out, getting real deep in that RPM there. So last night I tested out my camping gear that fits on my bike because I'm going to do a hard enduro camping trip, and so I slept in the tent and the sleeping bag with the sleeping pad that I'm going to have on the bike with the my little booties, everything. Temperature last night dropped to 30 degrees, so it got pretty cold, and I did fine. There's a couple things to adjust, and I'm going to be like a-okay even at colder temperatures. But I was really happy with that, how that turned out. It's a tiny little sleeping tent. It's made by Nemo, and I wanted to test it out first. This is another reason we came up here, because I knew it'd be cold. So we had the rig RV, and then I set up the tent with my sleeping bag, all that next to the RV, and I slept last night in the tent. My wife and the kids are in the RV where it's like 80 degrees. You got the heater on, and I was outside in 30-degree temperature. It was cold, but as long as I was in the sleeping bag, and I did fine. So I was pretty happy with how that turned out. The next step I got to do is test out my cooking gear. So I have a little cook set that all fits, real compact, ultralight kind of deal, to make sure I can cook and know what the hell I'm doing when I get out there. So, and that I can just do at home though. But the actual sleeping, I had to do that up here because it's cold, and this is the environment that I'd be doing it in. So I was really happy with how that turned out. When that's all done, when I get my first actual camp video, hard enduro camping video, man, it's gonna be fun. I can't wait to do that. Hopefully I can get one in before the end of the year. There's only so many weekends I can get away to go riding. You know, it's got Halloween coming up, a bunch of birthdays. No more weddings for the year, thank God. Done with the weddings. Weddings should be on a Thursday. I tell everyone, get married on a Thursday. That way it keeps the weekends open for a riding. Everyone wants to get married right in the middle of the weekend, right when you could be riding your dirt bike. I'm saying no to that. Go get married on a Thursday and help your dirt biker friends out. Just bobbing and weaving through the trail there. Big old fallen tree back there. Man, there's some huge trees that have fallen. A couple of fresh ones too. You'll see at the end of the trail. There's some fresh giant trees that have come down. It'd be nice to leave any tree about a foot, 2 feet. If it falls flat on the trail and it's a foot, 2-footer, I'm just saying leave it. There's no reason to cut that out. Anyone can get over a 1-foot log. I don't care how out of shape and how low skilled a rider you are. You can get over a 1-foot log.
Second to third. This is third right now.
Yeah.
This is limit.
With the flow of the trail, I'm riding most of this in third. All right, let me talk here, Georgie. You shut your mouth. So I'm riding most of the trail in a third gear, and then when it gets slow, I'll go down to second. And then if I go super slow, then I go to first. But there's second right there. You can see that bog down, which is good. That low bog keeps your bike from wheel spin. If you go into first, there you got the chunder. If you go to first gear, sometimes it can be just a little too torquey, and you get wheel spin. Whereas you keep it in second gear, keeps that RPM low, and it keeps the softness of the power, and so it doesn't have that wheel spin. I would just watch Sea to Sky and Maddie Lettbeckler talk about how to save a tire, and during the flowy stuff, just keeping the RPMs low and not having any wheel spin to save that soft, gummy tire he had. Now, yeah, when they got hill climbs and they got to zap it, yeah, you'll hear them rev those RPMs up, but a lot of the time, they're just at this real low. If you watch Graham Jarvis, just a lot of times he's just really, really low in the RPMs all the time. He doesn't have hardly any wheel spin, and that's why he gets such good traction. There's a little dip back there. Watch out for those dips. And the whoops. You know, they got some whoops up here, and they got some big whoops too. But the whole trail isn't whooped out. You still got a nice flowy section to a lot of the trail. But I'm coming from racing out in Spangler in the desert, where you got like 80 miles of straight up whoops. Ooh, nice little rock section there, just straight up and over the top. I always remember Max Gersten, one of his tips was when you find rocks, don't avoid the rocks. Go over the middle. And Rich Larson, same thing. Try to stay on top of the rock. Don't try to shoot for the crack or the edge of the rock. Just go right over the top. You'll get more traction. I know it feels a little scarier because sometimes you're like up on a peak, your legs can't dangle down. You feel safer if you go on the crack of the rock, but you get less traction. You're more likely to get hung up on your tire if you go on the crack. Whereas you stay over the top, the center of the rock, you avoid those cracks and you get a lot more traction. Having a nice blow. Feeling good, looking good, Georgie. Trixie, getting her done. I think Kyle might be impressed. Kyle, if you're watching, this is my Marine Corps buddy, Kyle. And he's always complaining about me not being fast enough through the twisty, tight trails. So I think I was doing pretty good. I might be able to keep up with you now, buddy. I don't know. He's so good through this tight section. When you get single track where it's a real flowy, twisty, he's so good. Like, I can't keep up with him. I need obstacles, which slows everyone down. But I don't know, maybe the new 300 here might be coming for you, buddy. Speaking of other guys who might be watching, Dan from Grip It and Rip It, this would be a good trail for you, buddy. This is what you need to be riding up here. Just going to help you out with some skill, some conditioning. Tell that wife to get in that rig and bring your kids and get up here. You know, my wife didn't really want to come on this trip. There was a race, the Shamrocks dual enduros going on this weekend, and I love racing, and there's such large gaps between races, and I'm like, oh, I wanted to go to that race, but I wanted to get this camping trip done too, because I love taking my kids camping. I grew up going camping with my dad on my uncle's cabin up by Grant Grove. He's got a cabin up there, and he had the giant sequoias on his property, and as a kid you just run around, you know, giant sequoias that are just on his private property. It was amazing, and those memories just stuck with me. My uncle was so good at doing the going on a bear hunt camp song, and we little kids, he'd be going through the tall grass, through the mud, you know, over the river, we'd be swimming, little kids doing the story. And I got to do that with my son last night at the campfire, and he just loved it. I had to do it again and again for him. It just made me think he's developed these memories now like I've developed, and I want to continue that. I think it's just fantastic, and get away from just staying at home, staying on the TV, getting out in the outdoors. That's what's going to be great for him, my family.
Good.
Ooh, look what I got there. Got my Trixie mount with my iPhone bag.
All right, keep on going on it.
Yeah, keeps the party going. It just speeds it up. I don't have to get up. Oh, nice pivot turn there, Georgie. One thing I wasn't getting a lot of this trip was pivot turns, just because it's so flowy, you don't got to do the pivot turn. But Trixie, I'm getting really good at the pivot turn. She's easier to pivot turn than my 450 was by far. But I just want to point out, having your iPhone there in front of you on the handlebars in a protected case is so handy and so good. It just speeds up the ride. I don't have to pull out the iPhone all the time to look, see where I'm at. I can just, boom, look down, know where I'm going, and keep on truck along. I've been waiting. I want to manufacture these things. They're going to be called a Trixie mount, and I think I can make them kind of universal for any bike's handlebar system. And then the way it is, you can put any bag. You don't have to buy a specific bag. Just whatever bag you want to put on there would work. Just because I've seen a lot of people's videos where they have the it's like a mountain bike mount for their phone, and it just sticking up in the handlebars. And I'm like, man, if they go over the bars or tumble, that phone's gonna get destroyed and all that, but it's probably gonna break the mount as well. So I like having this bag. It's to me just a better deal. You guys that have those other mounts though, you probably do just as fine. I don't know if to ride it in, if those mounts suck, you need to try a Trixie mount. It's awesome. I can't ride without it. Now I'm going along here as a sharp switchback. Slam on those brakes. Yeah, don't be caught daydreaming here. You got this sharp, rocky switchback. I'm gonna get the rear tire. Gonna go long, and then it gives me a wider turning radius here. Do a little front wag, and then a little bit of a pivot turn. Get the front end around right there. Ooh, a couple of tire marks went up to the left there. I imagine this area has got the main trails, and then it's got the secret trails, just like every other place does. There's always the secret trails. You know, they got all the signs, stay on the trail, don't get off the trail, and then you got the secret trails as well.
We can easy to get into neutral to go from second to first.
Yeah, I did it back there
Easier
again.
than WR was.
Slipped back into neutral. Which, that's probably just me. I need to be get my shifting down better. But I've had a couple of you guys write in about getting off trail, staying on the trail, and for the most part I do. But every once in a while you got to get off the trail and try something new. I'm not against it, you know. If you think if I just ride on the trail, they'll keep these trails open. That is not the way it works. The groups that control the trails are big environmentalists that get big money lobbyists for the politicians, and their goal is to get rid of us. That is not, if we just do what they want, they'll leave us alone. No, every year, every month, every day, they're trying to pass something to get rid of us, to get rid of dirt bikes, get rid of off-roading. If they can make all off-road area wilderness where all you can do is have hippie hikers, because that's what these environmentalists are. They're just a bunch of hippie hikers up here that want to hike up here and do whatever the hell they do. I don't know, find their inner soul or something like that. But yeah, to me, go ride it. And if you got an area you want to go ride, do it, because one day none of this will be available. Just like how my dad used to fly up here, and he used to fly in other areas that are now wilderness. They weren't wilderness back in the day, and he used to fly up there. And they've cut out all these high Sierra airstrips, and my dad got to fly them. Ooh, nice chunky rock section through here. Keep your balance. Stay in control of the clutch. Let her roll. Nicely done there, Georgie. But anyways, go get it done, because one day this will all be gone, and all you'll be able to have is a memory. And if you're the guy that says, well, if I just don't ride here now, it'll stay open forever, that is not going to happen. Their goal is to shut this down no matter what. And so I say go get it. So if that offends you, if that pisses you off, I'm sorry, that's my attitude. Go ride it while we can, because sooner or later this is all going away. They're going to say there's some endangered species. They're going to say there's erosion. They're going to make up some excuse. They're going to say our exhaust is causing climate change. They're going to say the tire tread is poisoning the soil. Whatever. They're going to make up some stupid excuse to get us off our bikes, to get us off-roading. It is happening. Oh, the tight little
narrow gap.
Split through the rocks right there. So, anyways, I got to throw that out there, because that's my attitude. Go ride it while you can, and if it's going to piss a couple people off, so be it. It's not private property. If it's open to the public, I believe it should be open to the public. It shouldn't be just open to certain public people because they have bigger lobby groups that pay more money for politicians for re-elections. I don't believe in that. I believe public land is public land. And if you don't leave trash, one thing I hate is people that leave trash. Do not leave trash. If you want to use the public ground, which is national parks, BLM ground, that's all public ground that you pay for through taxes, that you fought for through being in the military. I mean, it should be up to you. Just don't leave your trash. I mean, all these trails came from somewhere. If we just obeyed all the rules and never went anywhere, we'd have no trails to ride. Somebody made this trail. And if you're going to tell me that's breaking the law by just riding on public ground, I'm going to say, well, did you break the law in speeding? Because I'm pretty sure speeding is against the law too, but you probably had no problem speeding on your way to work, on your way to church, on your way to wherever you're going. You were breaking the law of speeding. So don't give me, like, we can only break certain laws and some laws are okay to break. We're just riding on public ground. Just think of it that way. This is just public ground. That's all we're doing. I'm gonna nose over the bike here, do my first fall of the day. Got a little soft sandy shoulder there.
Nose over.
Hey! Gotta at least fall over once. Not riding hard enough if you don't crash at least once during the ride. Alright, pick her up, back on the trail. That was only one of the day. That was even a bad one. Just kind of got that soft shoulder. It looks like that rock. I hit it with my front tire on the right. It kicked me off left, and I was pulling in the brake because I got on the left side of the trail is soft. It just, you know, washed out on me. Not that big of a deal. gotta hear those
Nervous,
whoops.
split these tree gaps.
Gotta keep you honest, keep you on your toes. I don't mind the whoops. I just think of it as extra conditioning. You're burning some extra calories there, which I need to do right now because I had biscuits and gravy this morning. I made my own biscuits this morning from the Luke's recipe from the Outdoor Boys. He makes his own bread when he goes camping. He gets bread flour, some yeast, some sugar and salt, and I just did what he did, put it on a little pot, mix it up, put it in a little baggie, and let it double in size overnight, and then made biscuits this morning with it. It was pretty good for my first time. I think I need to have them cook a little bit longer, and they were pretty tasty. And then my wife, she made the gravy, and that was really good. Little tight section back there, little rock gap to get through. All these dead trees falling over here. They must have had a forest fire that went in here. Now all the dead trees have finally fallen over. Either that or a high wind. Probably a forest fire, and then a high wind came through and knocked everything over. So altitude, where we're camping at Troy Meadows, is 7,800 feet, so pretty high. And the highest point I got on the trail today was 8,800 feet, which is not a big elevation climb or anything like that. Most of the trail is pretty level. I mean, you are doing a little climbs here and there, but no major altitude gain. But still, you're riding at altitude, so you do feel yourself a little bit out of breath. So pretty out here. You guys do a lot of desert riding and you want to change it up, get some trees and some green stuff while you ride. This Kennedy Meadows area, it's just beautiful. And the temperature was just so nice. Like I said, it was 30 degrees last night with a high of 59. So the ride today is all upper 40s to low 50s, which is so nice. I'm not getting overheated. Usually I'm like so sweaty. I'm drinking so much fluid through the water bladder there, and I'm not doing that. I hardly drank any water today. Yeah, and it was just so nice. I even only put 2 liters of water. Usually I'll put 3 liters of water in, but I only put 2, so it cuts down all the weight. Which I have my little water filtration system. Talked about that last video, the Rincon challenge, where I got a water filtration system now, and I really don't need to have the 3 liters anymore. I just do 2 liters, and then if I need water, I can stop at a stream or a creek, add more water to the pack. It's so nice. I noticed the weight difference between a 2 liter and a 3 liter pack. And plus the 3 liter really makes my bag feel like it's full. And I like that my bag just feels smaller, feels lighter on my back. Especially with all the whoops, twisties and turnies, you know, it's nice saves my lower back from getting so tired. Nice flow through the trees here. So we're coming up to Monache Meadows here in a little bit. Beautiful Monache Meadows, really large meadow area. Yesterday we saw a coyote right next to the stream, which is great for the kids. It was a big looking coyote too. We have coyotes down here in the valley, and it looked twice as big.
Beautiful trail.
Oh yeah, this is so nice up here.
Over here, nice and cool.
Yeah, just
Perfect.
talking about that. Yeah. Watch this tree. It gets really close up here.
Ooh.
Right there.
A couple handlebars been scraping that tree.
Yeah, you can see where the bark's been scraped away from people hitting their handlebars. I'm trying to get some quick glances in at the meadow over there. I want to see a bear or a deer. It's always fun to see any kind of wildlife while you're trail riding. You know, I love coming across that kind of stuff. And the bears, I know they're up here. The guy that was camping next to us, Frank, he came over and he told me, don't leave any food outside. The bears will get it. And I'm like, yeah, I know we're in bear country, so I'm not leaving anything. So I went through the side-by-side in little trash wrappers. My truck, same thing. Got all the food, trash wrappers out of the truck. Put it all in the trailer. Coming up, it's going to be a tight little turn that's kind of technical right here. It's got this big root sticking out. Didn't turn sharp enough, but did a little pivot, popped the front end over, and then did a little rock back in the momentum.
A little bit of a tricky spot there.
Yeah, a little bit of a tricky spot there. So pretty up here. Look at these trees changing colors. My sister's up at Mono Lake right now. The east side of Sierra is just full of these trees. They're all changing colors. Man, just such a pretty area she's in. She's been sending pictures. And I'm like, man, we need to go riding up there in the fall. Kind of hit up that Bishop area, Mono Lake area. There's a ton of off-road riding up there too. That'd be fun to do. Maybe next fall, do a trip up there and just ride through all the changing color of the trees. Just pretty. So, I mean, I love the hard stuff. Don't get me wrong. I love riding hard enduro, finding the obstacles. But sometimes enjoy riding just flowy trails. Yeah, he almost washed out there. Just doing a nice trail ride through the beauty of nature here. I mean, it's worth it. Now, I got my goggles down. There's gonna be a branch sticking down, and you'll see it's gonna swipe right in front of my face. I'm glad I have my goggles down. It's coming up right here. Yeah, man, that would have gouged out your eyeballs right there. Watch out with your goggles, folks. If you're riding goggles up, try to keep them down as much as possible. Only go goggle up, you know, when it gets hot and starts steaming up the lens there. Because you never know when there's going to be a twig or branch out that's going to get you right in the face. All right, folks, we've made it to Monache Meadows. And they got a little trail split here, so I just went on a little side adventure. So I'm off Jackass now. This trail leads you to Beck Meadows. But this is all Monache Meadow right here. But this trail doesn't loop around. You can't connect it back over to the other side of Monache and get back on Jackass. So it's kind of an out and back trail, which totally, it's just so dumb. Like, the common sense of people and Americans is out the window. And this goes back to what I was talking to earlier about riding, staying on trail or off trail, or in areas where it's like no motorized vehicles, something like that. So you can ride here. This connects, it actually does connect over to the other side of Monache there, but because it goes through a new wilderness area, you're not allowed to go, even though trail's there. They're not like you're blazing fresh track or anything. The trail is there, but you're not allowed to ride on it because some environmentalist group, some environmental organization, Sierra Club, big lobbyists that have pushed politicians, gave them money to get reelected. They said, okay, this area, you can't ride a bike, you can't drive a car, whatever. You can hike in there like a hippie and go smoke your dope and do all this hippie stuff you want to do. But if you want to ride a dirt bike, not allowed. And that's what really gets me, is that these are established trails, and we're not breaking any new trail, yet you can't ride on there. It makes no sense to me at all. All right, I'm off my soapbox. You guys can love it or hate it, I don't care. That's my opinion. Especially if there's an established trail, there's no harm on riding on that trail. It makes no sense to me. Even a hiker's trail, like hikers, especially there's a hiker can get through anything. It's not like, oh, the trail got too torn up, I can't hike the trail. Like, yes, you can. You're a hiker. You can literally go over anything. It's the guy on the bike that'll be very limited in where he can go, not the hiker. The hiker can go through anything. Like, I don't understand this hiker trails only versus hiker versus bike, mountain bike. You know, horses can come up here. Horses can actually destroy a lot of trails, shit all over the place, and there's no problem with a horse going anywhere.
There's Monache Meadows.
I gotta get off this topic. It's kind of just frustrates me. All right, so we're going through Monache. Off to the left will be where the airstrips are. This is just one big, long, continuous meadow. I'm sure, man, I haven't been here in the spring. I imagine in the springtime, that's beautiful. It'd be very green in here. So I'd like to come up here and just do a spring trip maybe, just to get a, see how pretty it'd be up here. Yeah, there's a sign up there I can see. Come up there and it's gonna say you can't keep going. Even though the trail keeps on going. You see the trail, there it is.
Or bike. That sucks.
There's no bikes, why not? The trail's there. I've been riding this whole time. I have not damaged anything to the side.
Now this is Monache Meadows.
Wildlife is still getting along just fine.
There's an airstrip over there we drove to yesterday. Just over yonder. Yeah, and that's where my dad used to fly his airplane into. The airstrip's still there. It's just grass.
Hey, it's so cool. I love that they still have at least one airstrip still there that pilots can go to. So I had to backtrack Beck's Meadows Trail, get back on the Jackass here. Back into the whoops right away. Even riding that Beck's Trail, that was so narrow, and there's a little lip. As you're riding along, you have to actually be pretty conscious of where you're riding, because you can get up in that lip and it grabs your front tire. You could lose your balance really easy. So it's a little tricky riding through that, the real tight little single track that was back there. So Jackass in is going to start heading back home now. So I'm probably at the halfway point of my ride. I'm going to start heading back home. We got to cross over the meadow back here, which they got these rock crossings with wire holding the rocks, plus cement bricks. Like, I'm telling you folks, environmental guys are freaking wacko nuts, and I'm sure they're using your donated taxpayer money or whatever to put in that kind of work. Like, they're putting rocks there and cement bricks so you don't erode the meadow away or make a trail. And it's just so dumb. Like, I just don't understand the stupidity of environmentalism. They do the dumbest things, thinking they're saving and protecting the environment when they're actually doing absolutely nothing but wasting your money. Got a bunch of sandy whoops here running along the meadow. Real pretty through here. I'm enjoying these whoops, folks. I know a lot of you guys don't like the whoops. I'm enjoying them. I need the workout. My legs need this. My knees aren't so bad. I can still take it. Now up here, we're gonna cross on over the middle to the left right there. I think that outcrop of rocks you see on the left, the trail goes right to the right of that. The trail goes on straight, so it's easy to bypass right here. And this is why I have my trusty Onyx off-road app right in front of me. So the trail goes left right here. There you are. And I actually went past a little bit, and I was thinking, I was like, man, I know I need to be turning left here soon. And I looked down, I could see that I passed it. So then I turned around and came back to where I am now. This part of Jackass, pretty fun. It's got a little bit of more rocky as you see on our way back here. A little bit more technical ride than it was in the first half in certain sections, and then it gets really pretty overgrown. You're just riding through the forest. It just has this cool vibe, cool feel to the trail. I really like it. Yeah, right in here, getting some nice chunky rocks climbing up through. I love this kind of stuff right here, making you work. Running that soft tire setup really helps out too. I got a drilled out Moose with that VE33S kind of intermediate tire. Just gets good traction. Yeah. Trixie loves this stuff. I can tell she's eating it up. Now coming up right here, I'm gonna bash a rock on the right-hand side. You'll see right here. Boom. I got that bash plate guarding the pipe, and I really like it. I know it's a little bit more bulky. It does have some weight to it, but it just saves your pipe. I'm not having to worry about bashing my pipe in and stuff like that. I think it's worth it. If you guys want to save your pipe a little bit more, get the bash plate. I know there's some pipe guards, and you know, it wasn't a big hit there, but you never know. Sometimes you really get a massive hit, and I like knowing I just don't have to think about it. It's like putting mooses on your tires over tubes. You just don't worry about a flat anymore. Like, I'm just not worried about bashing my pipe in anymore. It's just, I don't have to think about it. It's one less thing I gotta stress about, I guess. A lot of fallen logs. Every time I cross through a cut log, I'm always thinking, oh, like this one here. Oh, that would have been a good one to leave in. See how big that was? That was like a 2-footer. Leave that in. That's gonna cut down a lot of traffic. I could get over it though. It'd be a lot of fun. A lot of those like 1-foot logs, I mean, just strip down the dumb little branches, but leave the 1-foot log in there. Because those are, anyone can get over that. But that big one back there, ooh, leave a couple of those boys. There was a cow on the trail. Watch out for cows in the trail. They do that at home. They get out at home, a cow will run out right in the middle of the road and stare you down. If you're driving, like, they won't get out of the way. They'll just stand there and like, bring it. I'm gonna hit you. My uncle got taken out that way. He had a little Toyota Land Cruiser, one of them old school ones. Driving by a dairy, a couple of dairy cows got out, and when he got close, the cow ran out right in the middle of the road, and he slammed right into it and totaled his Toyota. He was all right, but the Toyota Land Cruiser just got destroyed. This whole ride, I didn't see another single person, no other riders. I thought for sure I'd see some, because there was a lot of motorcycle groups up here. Troy Meadows, every campsite had, I mean, there's a lot of campers up here that all had dirt bikes. Purple Foxes, they were up here, the big group too. So I thought, man, I'm gonna meet some riders up here. You know, I always like meeting riders on the trail and saying hello. But I didn't meet anyone, not a single person. And as I'm riding, going through the twisties, I'm trying to be very conscious of looking ahead, making sure I'm not going to do a head-on with somebody coming the other way. It'd be really easy. There's a lot of blind corners around here that you could, if a biker's coming the other way, you could have a head-on. Uh-oh, trail splits. Where do I go? Oh, look at that, folks. I just pointed out. I'm telling you, I think these have been hit. If I could manufacture these and sell online, sell through Rocky Mountain ATVs like that, I think people would be buying these Trixie mounts. You can see how fast I can look down and know where to go. It just saves so much time. That guy Frank, who I brought up earlier, who was camping next to us, he's been up here 4 times, and I told him, he's asked me what trails I'm going on. I'm like, I haven't been here once. I'm just using my Onyx off-road app, and he never heard of it. I'm like, man, what? You need to get Onyx off-road. It shows you where you can ride. It helps so much, and just speeds up the ride. And for me, speeding up the ride, you only have so much time to ride. My wife I only have a window of opportunity to ride to keep the wife happy, you know what I mean? So I got to get it done as quick as possible. It was a nice log. Leave that log in there, folks. Those trail fairies, I need to tip them, I guess. Need a little trail fairy tip jar. Leave a log in or two for the hard enduro lovers out here. Those trail fairies, they get to work, you know. As soon as that season opens, they bring their chainsaws in here. And it's just a cloud of sawdust going through, cutting all these logs up. You gotta leave little trail fairy tip jars along the trail. Like, nope, not this log. That's what I'll do. You gotta ride in before the trail fairies get there, and you have a little tip jar for them, like the log you want to keep. Leave it like a little $5 bill in there. That way, they come to that, they know to leave that log alone. I guess these are all blue rated trails, so I guess they do cut them up on the blues. My opinion is on, if you're gonna do a black diamond, if they're gonna call this trail Black Diamond, they gotta leave some logs in there. Otherwise, it's just a blue trail. I mean, this could be a Black Diamond trail if they just left a couple logs in. It's that simple. Beautiful meadow off to the left there. I love this. You're riding along the side of this meadow, and you can see it off to your left, and it's so pretty.
Beautiful meadows off to the left here.
Yeah, there are. I already said that, dummy. But he is right. Can't argue with that. It is beautiful off to the left there. Sometimes Georgie knows what he's talking about, which is me. It's good to know that I can agree with myself from time to time and not arguing with myself. Having a nice flow through the trails here. Getting really comfortable on Trixie. I haven't got that get home-itis. Sometimes when you're riding, get that get home-itis. You're just like, oh, I'm gonna turn up a level. Oh, where I'm at? There I am. Look at that. I threw all these in there on purpose just so you can see how convenient it is. Ooh, low tree right there. Don't knock your head on that one. But towards the end of the ride here, I started picking up the pace and really getting after. I get that get home-itis. Really feeling comfortable in the groove. And that's when you got to be careful, because you start getting a little careless. Maybe you're trying to push yourself a little too fast, and that's when you can have a crash right at the end of your ride. You know, you're tired, but you're like, all right, just speed it up so we can get home. And then you do something stupid. But it was riding really good all day today. Other than that one little bike dump I had early on, I haven't really done anything crazy. All right, yeah, where am I at? Okay, everyone gets the picture. There we are. There you are. Off and running. So right now I'm on the albanita. So I started on Jackass, and you crossed over the meadow there, Monache, and you get on the granite Broder trail, and then from Granite Broder you're gonna get on Albanita, then to the beach trail, and beach trail takes you all the way back to Monache Meadows campground. It all connects, and there's many trails that spin off from here. Dirt roads too, that aren't trails, but they're just like dirt roads you can jump on and take to other trails. A lot of exploring to do up here. It's my first time up here.
Don't take much.
Yeah, I caught a little rock rolled on me back there. Don't take much. A little roll gives you a little wiggle in the handlebars, and you're like, whoa, all right. Calm yourself. Get back into control. Like I said, I was starting to feel in the groove, so I was starting to pick up the pace. Again, I mean, it's real flowy through here anyways, so you can pick up the speed a little bit. Love all these little jumps from all the little water breaks. What's the name of that meadow off to my left? No name? There's just so many meadows up here. This on my app doesn't have a name. It shows a name, but beautiful to look at. No time to look. Got to get back to riding though. Supposed to be. I told my wife I'd be back by 12 o'clock, so it was supposed to be only about a little over a 2-hour ride, which I came in at 12:05, so I was almost right on the money. It's amazing how I can guess time and how long it's going to take to get somewhere. Yesterday, I told her we're taking the side-by-side up to Monache Meadows. I was like, it's going to take us about 2 hours, which took an hour and 50 minutes. So that was pretty close. That was Fish Creek we just crossed. That runs just, Fish Creek goes all the way by Troy Meadows, which the campground we're at, there's a couple spots at the end. You can camp right next to the creek, which is pretty cool. My rig wouldn't fit there. I had to park in spot 1 to be able to fit my rig in. There was a couple other spots, but there was a lot of guys up there. Like Troy Meadows there's a lot of empty spots, but the nice spots, the bigger spots, they were taken already. So I was happy with spot 1. The rig fit nice. But if I had a group, like if I had Dan wants to come up here, or got some other guys that want to bring their RVs, finding a group of spots together, they were taken already. I came up Saturday, so we'd probably have to get up here on a Thursday or something like that when spots are available and get them first. Trixie, just having a good time out here. Now I did kind of the northern route, I'd say, for this area of Kennedy Meadows. It's a big area and there's a ton of trails out here. Next time I come out, I'd like to go the southern route and hit up like Cerrito Pass. Gets up there pretty high in elevation, and then head over to where Sherman Pass comes up, and then maybe do the Rattlesnake Trail. A lot of people do Rattlesnake out here, which it kind of sucks. I was showing my dad on the map how the trails all connect and all this, and the trails, some of them go in and out of the Golden Trout Wilderness area, and it'd be nice. I mean, the trails connect, so if you did Rincon, you could do the upper Rincon, and it continues on, wraps around, it dips into the wilderness area, and then comes back out to Rattlesnake. So the Rincon Trail is the Rattlesnake Trail. I mean, it just doesn't connect because it's dang wilderness got to go in and out of it. The trail's still there, and I'd just be cool. Like, I've been talking about this whole ride. Why don't they allow us to ride on pre-existing trails? It'd be really nice to have more looped trails instead of just out and back trails, you know? All right, we got 7 miles till we get back to home base. Just got a nice, smooth, flowy trail here. Has a couple of rocky sections toward the end of the ride, which could give someone some trouble. I went through them pretty quick. Didn't have any trouble, but it could hold up a couple guys, I'd say. Nice cut up fresh log right there. Yeah, these guys are on it. Like, a tree falls over, and within like 24 hours, someone's through cutting up that tree. I don't know, people stay on top of these trails, keeping them cleaned up. I had so much fun today riding this trail. It's very flowy, you know, nothing too difficult. Sometimes you gotta just get out and have some fun on the bike. I love riding the hard stuff. Most of my videos out here are all about riding some hard, gnarly terrain, overgrown trails, and kind of blasting through the brush, all that kind of stuff. But every once in a while, you just gotta have some fun on the bike. Get some flow going, some speed. That twisted trail in Utah I did a couple years ago, that's probably one of the most fun trails I've ever ridden. That fun factor, just had to flow to it, ups and downs, twists. The scenery is amazing, and it wasn't the hardest at all, but it just was so fun to ride. That's kind of how I feel out here. I know it does have the whoops, and like I've said before, some people just don't like those whoops. But to me, I really enjoyed this trail. It wasn't too hard, had a nice real flow to it. Just what the doctor ordered, you know. The body needed this. My legs, it's been a couple days now, my legs were sore after the ride, and not too bad though. Sometimes I get so beat up and so sore it's hard to walk the next week, but I was feeling pretty good. Just had enough difficulty that made me stay on my toes, I'd say that. Nice little rocky, chunky section through there. Just stay to hide. Let the bike do its thing. Did you guys see the news in Utah? That dirt bike rider happened about a week ago. But he was riding a trail in Utah in the mountains there, and somebody had set up a booby trap with a wire across the trail. So they tied it to 2 trees and had just a real thin black wire going across the trail. He didn't see it, goes riding right into it, and you know, could have been really bad. Luckily, he had kind of his helmet down, and it hit just so where the helmet caught it. It threw him off the bike. It got some cuts on his mouth, but it could have been a lot worse. But thankfully, he walked away without a serious injury. But I hope they catch that guy, man. There's some evil people out here. You know, that forest fire, the Palisades fire. They finally caught the arsonist. They had that fire in Utah where the guy set the fire, and then he started sniping out the firefighters that came. You know, there's some evil people. Just had the Charlie Kirk assassination. You know, it doesn't end. It seems like things are just getting crazier, and it's not stopping. I don't know how to stop this stuff. You know, I'm not a mercy kind of guy. I don't believe in appeasement. I was in the Marine Corps, and the only way I know to deal with bad guys is you kill them, you destroy them. How do you do that? We need a Punisher. The Marvel character, my favorite Marvel character is the Punisher, because he doesn't deal with any crap. He goes after the bad guys. He goes after all the bad guys, from the low-level guys to the high-level guys, and he gets them all. So that's what we need. I mean, jail time for these guys isn't gonna do it. I think you gotta set a capital punishment, death penalty kind of thing. We gotta set an example that we're not accepting this behavior in our society. America shouldn't be afraid to go dirt bike riding and worrying about a dang booby trap set for you by some crazy environmentalist wacko. You know, it's so dumb. Sorry folks, I'm just talking a little bit more about what's going on in the world and staying up with the current news. Dirt bike riders got to be watching out for each other now, looking for people setting booby traps. All right, George, talk about the ride going on. Getting close to the end. I was getting that get-home-itis. I was tired at this point, and I just like, all right, not over the ride, but let's get back home. It's almost lunchtime. I'm getting hungry. All these little twisties, this side hill. Don't make a mistake. That's what I'm thinking. You know, you're close to the end. Don't make a mistake. I know you're tired and you want to get home, so you're kind of going a little bit quicker than I normally would. The bike really felt great today. I was talking to my buddy Vince. His son Cole is going down for round 1 of Enduro Cross in Prescott right now, but they're asking how the 300 was feeling, and I told Vince, I was like, I finally bonded with the bike. You know, it's that different ride feel that I was really noticing before kind of is gone. Now it's feeling pretty natural on the 300 here, and I'm feeling pretty good. So made the bond. Trixie 2.0, she's here to stay, folks. Nice little rock, chunky section through the trail right here. Coming up, I'm going to go around this bend, and I'm going to hit the bash plate, or that's what I think, or my foot peg right here in this rock. Boom.
That was a big hit.
Yeah, that was a big hit. Knocked me over. I looked down, make sure my brake lever didn't get sheared off, but it was still there. So I think I hit the bash plate, and that knocked me from right to left.
You didn't hit anything?
Yeah, it didn't hurt anything. Now, bash plate, I do like it. It's very beefy, solid, it's strong. It does stick out about a half an inch further than the pipe. So I don't know, if I didn't have the bash plate, would I be hitting? You know, I'd be a little bit more narrow and have a little bit more clearance. But I just think having it on there is just better. I don't have to worry about smashing the pipe. If I got to deal with a couple extra hits that I wouldn't have got, you know, I can deal with that. It's gonna save me from having to repair my pipe all the time. You know, the pros, they have a whole trailer full of pipes, so if they bash in a pipe, you know, let's throw another one on there. But for amateur guys, for me anyways, I think I'm gonna be a money ahead and be happier to have that bash plate on there, just protect it all together. I mean, it adds some weight, but the extra protection is worth it. I ain't racing for first place. I'm just racing to survive the race. Ride to survive. I was gonna make a new shirt. Ride to keep the trail alive. Here's a nice little rocky section right here. I'm gonna go through it pretty smooth, but you know, if this isn't your jam, just take your time through here. I take the high line, get the tire over, carry the momentum, and just go right on through it. But I can see how you could easily dump your bike there.
A little rocky back there?
Yeah, it was a little rocky. It's probably the hardest little technical section of the whole ride today, was that little bit back there. So if that isn't your jam, just kind of take your time through it. Try to carry momentum, and just take that high line, I'd say. It's easier to fall high than if you fall low, you have no place to go. Tire setup helps quite a bit. I got the intermediate soft tire. Gets a lot more traction on the rocks. If you got a really hard tire with a lot of air pressure in the tube, yeah, you might spin out in those rocks. All right, folks, we're getting close to the end. Hope you've enjoyed it. Kennedy Meadows, or Troy Meadows, or Monache Meadows, or there's a ton of meadows up here, so you could give it a whole bunch of names. Fantastic, beautiful ride. If you want some flow with some whoops and some trees, I'd say come on up here and have a great time. In the fall too, it was nice and cool. When I spent the night in my tent, it was 30 degrees in the morning. By the time I got on the bike, it was in the like low 40s, and by the end of the day, the high was only about 58. So great time to ride. I didn't hardly sweat at all. Hardly drank any water. Dirt bike season, it's ready to go. I mean, the hot weather is gone, so we can get out and ride without having to worry about a heat stroke now. So I'm gonna start getting I have a goal of getting that abandoned trail. And then on your way out of here, as you're going through Kennedy Meadow, the town, stop at that Grumpy Bear Diner. Man, they have a fantastic burger, the Grumpy Burger, and they had another one that's just a gigantic, like, it was a massive burger and well worth it. Anyways, folks, hope you enjoyed it. Kennedy Meadows here. Until next video comes out, you know what to do. Get out, ride, and get some. Ew!